The Alumni Award for Distinguished Service in the Greater Church is awarded to Bishop Claire Chenot Burkat.
Celebrating her 35th year of ordination, the Reverend Claire Chenot Burkat, class of 1978, has served the Church of Jesus Christ in a variety of capacities over 3 decades. She assumed office as the 4th Bishop of the Southeastern Pennsylvania Synod of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America on July 1st, 2006. In May 2012, Bishop Burkat was re-elected to a 2nd term as the spiritual leader of 95,000 members and 160 ELCA congregations in the city of Philadelphia and Bucks, Chester, Delaware, and Montgomery counties of Pennsylvania. During her tenure, Bishop Burkat has led the Synod through an extensive strategic planning process, focusing on new priorities and avenues for Lutheran witness in the 21st century. Under her leadership, and in partnership with President Cray and the Seminary Board, the Synod moved its offices to the Lutheran Theological Seminary at Philadelphia to create a Lutheran Center at the Mount Airy campus. Bishop Burkat has been a leader in local and national ecumenical and interfaith initiatives. She is co-convener of the Religious Leaders Council of Philadelphia, which brings together Christians, Jews, and Muslims on issues of concern to the region. She is a member of the Steering Committee of Christian Churches Together in the USA, a national body inclusive of the diversity of Christian families in the United States, Orthodox, Roman Catholic, Evangelical, Pentecostal, Historic Protestant, and Historic Black churches. She serves on the ELCA Ecumenical Task Force and is a trustee of LTSP and Muhlenberg College. At the time of her election, Bishop Burkat served as mission director for the Synod and the Episcopal Diocese of Pennsylvania. She has previously served as an assistant to 3 Synod bishops and as mission director for the New Jersey Synod. She has overseen the planting of 16 ELCA congregations and designed a strategy for redevelopment of at-risk congregations that have been adapted for use in the ELCA. Her first call to ordained ministry was to Holy Trinity Evangelical Lutheran Church in Abington, Pennsylvania. A native of New York City, Bishop Burkat is a graduate of City University of New York and received her Master's of Divinity from LTSP. She is grateful to Jesus Christ for this call to ELCA ministry, which has blessed and stretched her over the years. She credits Philadelphia Seminary for the excellent theological and biblical formation she received and for the Ho tuition scholarship which helped fund her education. Bishop Burkat resides in Ambler, Pennsylvania, and is a member of the Lutheran Church of the Holy Communion in Philadelphia. Her son, Alex, is a constant source of joy and support. She is thrilled. He now lives in Brooklyn. Congratulations.
That's that New York DNA. Well, it's an honor and it's a remarkable story which brings me today, a testimony to God who chooses us and takes us from all kinds of places, including the margins, to serve the church. I'm reminded tonight of St. Paul's letter to the Corinthians. And I think of my own call, and 35 years is a long time. I love my classmates who are here, and Paul Beck and Jim Eccles. We went to CPE together at Presbyterian Hospital. What happens at Presbyterian stays in Presbyterian. Marie Yergi, who's Bishop of Upstate New York, and Tom Irwin, and Chris Matthey, and Ron Wiesman, just a remarkable class. But St. Paul writes to the church at Corinth, "Consider your own call, brothers and sisters. Not many of you were wise by human standards. Not many were powerful. Not many were of noble birth. But God chose what is foolish in the world to shame the wise. God chose what is weak in the world to shame the strong. God chose what is low and despised in the world's things that are not, to reduce to nothing things that are, so that no one may boast in the presence of God." I have to say, I was spiritually, physically, and inexplicably drawn to this seminary by God by an invisible magnetic force. When I was younger than my son Alex, in a way that I can only explain was God's design. You have to know that my father has a 9th grade education, and my mother was brought up in an orphanage. My neighborhood was thoroughly blue-collar and union. There was no way I was even going to college, no less graduate school. But here at Philadelphia, by the call of God, I was welcomed at a time when women were not welcomed in other places. I was welcomed by the faculty here in such a generous way, and the president in the early 70s in a way I was not welcomed at my own home church, which had a scholarship for seminarians which would not give it to me because I was a woman. I could not have afforded to go to graduate school without the host scholarship, which was my first trust in God. Called to God, and I thought, Lord, if you want me to go to seminary, you're going to have to find a way. And the first miracle of my call was receiving the host scholarship the summer before I was to go to seminary, and I had not even applied. You have to know the little miracles that make ordinary people come into God's ministry. Larry House, another dear classmate of mine, just remarkable. The 4 years of excellent and deep theological formation and intellectual challenge combined with my inner call. We Lutherans, we need an inner call and an outer call, right? We say that, but for me it was absolutely true. I didn't even talk about my inner call because Lord knows in 1974 it would have been considered too Pentecostal. But that's how God works, whether we talk about it or not. But when you think the 4 years that I spent here at seminary, starting in 1974, would be 39 years, almost 40 years. 4 years in seminary, 40 years in ministry has multiplied tenfold. Who would have thought that? Who would have even thought? Not me. If you knew where I came from, if you knew Claire from the block, you wouldn't. I could tell you stories that would make your hair curl, but anyway. I am so glad tonight that my son Alex is here. Because it's a chance for him to see a portion of my spiritual formation. We don't talk about this with our children, and they don't see us in that way. But this is truly a God moment for me. One of my proudest accomplishments was when I helped with Dr. Cray to bring the synod to the seminary here at Philadelphia and bring the synod back to the city of Philadelphia. In this second term as bishop, I intend to find ways for the synod to raise up leaders and to fund theological education and formation, especially for those who live on the margins. And as Dr. Caveas said today, bringing those on the margins to the center. Because you want to see the future, look at the margins. That's where it is. So I close with St. Paul's words. But we who are not of noble birth or wise by human standards, we who are fools for Christ. He is the source of our life in Jesus Christ, who became for us wisdom for God and righteousness and sanctification and redemption, in order that it is written, let the one who boasts, boast in the Lord. Thank you.